Final week of the regular season, as the season just flies by like it always does. Time now for our EMS Detergent Services week preview. And before we look ahead, Jason, we always look back just a little bit. And wow, what a game. Knockdown, drag out. Cascade comes to Butch Peterson Field at the Little Rose Bowl on Oliphant Street in the heart of downtown West Branch. And wow, it was a battle back and forth. 26-6 final score. The Bears get the victory. It was a good game, just like we expected. And
we talked about it, Stephen, how we hoped that the Bears defense from week 7 in one quarter continued on to some degree into week 8. And you take away the 68 yards that Cascade had, 70 yards on the first drive in 3 plays. They had that many yards for the last 47 minutes of the game. So that defense came to play, and West Branch offense did what they needed to do and build off the firemen on the defense, putting it out the rest of the game. And that's pretty impressive, holding a team that averaged almost 400 yards to 140 yards and just 6 points.
Yeah, and it was a case where, I mean, offensively, I was thinking, it would be easy for these guys to maybe get a little frustrated, maybe press things just a little bit when they drive down and they turn it over on downs, or they would have to punt it or something like that. But they just kept their heads. They just, we're going to keep chipping away, we're going to keep grinding, and eventually they were able to get those points onto the scoreboard.
Yeah, sooner or later, I think something had to give. And I think really the thing that turned it around, Stephen, speaking of defense, was when Tanner Lukovsky makes that interception, pick 6 for about 43 yards, taking it to the south end zone. I think the confidence level got a little higher, not just from a defensive perspective because it was already there, but the offense came out after halftime. Coach Hirschman made a concerted effort to really try to establish the run. They had to do something. They made some changes, and you saw Tanner Lukovsky go from, 9 carries, 15 yards in the first, was that right?
Yeah.
To 4, 6, 7. All the yards were going up from there, and then he finally busted loose for about a 37-yard touchdown run towards the end of the game. The short passing game started to come to play, and Bo Cornwell started to do a lot of things with his feet that he can do, but he just doesn't do it a lot, and he made a lot of good runs.
Good runs, smart decisions with the football several times, and guys were catching the balls out there just like we've seen all season long. So all translated to a victory. 7-1 now in the regular season, tied for second place with Cascade. Outside shot at district title, RPI looks good, blah, 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 blah. So many other million things. Yeah. But you know what? All that really matters is we need to go up. We need to take care of business up at a very good Dyersville Beckman squad.
Yeah, we've never lost in Dyersville. That's because we've never played Dyersville Beckman before. It's on a turf field, so it'll be West Branch's first ever experience on a turf field outside. They've played inside on turf fields before at the Dome 26 times if you're keeping track. But never really played outside like that before. And the turf field, one of the things that it really does is makes fast teams a little bit faster. You can cut a little bit better. But I think they're just ready to just have the experience of it's a big level. It's a stage that they need to win on. To win the 8th game, to guarantee, Stephen, that the Bears go to the playoffs. You win you win that game, and right now the Bears are in 6th in the RPI. They're not going to drop if they win. Against a Beckman team that has shown throughout the season against some stiff competition that they can put up some yardage. They play some pretty solid defense, too, a couple weeks ago against Cascade. I mean, they give up a touchdown with 58 seconds or something like that to go in the game and had a guy wide open at the end of the game, just overthrew him and could have pulled off the miracle in western Dubuque County. But they were right there against the Cascade team that gave West Branch fits until the second half of last week. So Seamus O'Connor is a guy you got to watch out for at quarterback. Owen Grover. Love that name.
6'3", 215. So many times on tape you see him, and it takes 3, 4, 5 guys to bring him down. So the Bears number 32 for the Bears. So yeah, it's gonna be a gang tackling effort for this Bears defense this week.
Party at the football. One of my favorite things to say. With a guy like that's not going to go down with just the first hit. He's not that whole arm tackling thing. I don't care how strong you are. You're not going to get a 6'3", 215 pounds to just drop. When he gets the ball, you got a party. Everybody can, group up, meet where the ball is, take him down, and 2, 3 guys. And sooner or later, it wears on you. And hopefully the Bears can, from the defensive line perspective, continue to get pressure like they did last week. Last week, I think, was probably some of the best play from a defensive line standpoint. It might not show in the stats of sacks here, tackles there, but the pressure, I think, put Harris Hoffman, who's a fantastic athlete for Cascade, into some predicaments, into some throwing situations I don't think he wanted to be in.
Well, I'll give you some numbers here. I mean, I've got all these stats and everything, but how about this? 180, 200, 230, 290, 315. That's the starting offensive line for this Dyersville Beckman squad. So they've got some meat up there. They're going to bulldoze their way with that 215-pound running back. So really, you know, you're looking at safeties, linebackers going to have to make sure that they're coming in, helping in that run game, but also pay attention so they're not getting burnt over top in that pass support.
Yeah, I remember earlier in the season, we watched film. Offensive coordinator for the Fresh-Off, Jason Kern, his exact words when he first saw Dyersville Beckman on tape were, wow, they passed the eye test. Cliche, but when you're talking about those kind of numbers, West Branch has got a pretty big line. This line makes West Branch look a little small. 315, we don't have anybody like that. 290, we don't have anybody like that. That's a lot of beef. I don't care whether or not their technique is, it doesn't even have to be fantastic. It's pretty tough to get by a guy like that. It's pretty tough to push a guy like that around. 78, I can't remember the kid's name, but he's the one that's 315, I believe, and just from an eye testing on film, he's a road grader. That's one of my favorite things. He can really push open some holes, and you got a 215-pound back like they do. That's where their success is.
Well, it should be a great matchup here. They're coming in. I mean, it's a deceptive 4-4 squad because they've had a pretty tough schedule. They've been in a lot of these games. I mean, they score 22 points a game. They give up 20 points per game. So that tells me they're right there in every contest. So Bears are going to have to be ready to play.
Their 4 losses right now, if you look at them, every one of those 4 teams by RPI right now would be qualified. Cascade right now is at 15th. Bellevue, number 1. Waukon, one of the best teams in 2A. And Monticello, a better team in 2A, who Bellevue played and Beckman played and somebody else in our district played, Cascade played. And I think they're in the top 10 in 2A. So they're not losing to teams that they're beating every team they should beat. And I guarantee on senior night, Stephen, they have one goal and one goal only. We don't want to go 4-5. We want to finish 5-4, and we want to give West Branch a gift for their 70-mile ride home that they lost the last game of the regular season before they go in the playoffs, and that's because of our play.
Well, we're going to look forward to a great matchup top to bottom. We will have all of the action for you with the Bearcast. 7 o'clock is the pregame kickoff around 7:30 after the Fresh-Off game gets done up in Dyersville, and we'll have it for you right here at westbranchfootball.com.